It all started like any other morning on our farm, peaceful, quiet, with the sun just rising over the fields. The dogs were already up, running drills at our K9 training facility, a place we'd spent years building with love, hard work, and a whole lot of sacrifice. Everything was going great, until the HOA showed up. At first, we thought it was just another one of their surprise inspections. They'd always had something to say about our property: too many vehicles, too much noise, or the ever-popular violating community standards. But nothing could have prepared us for what they did next. Within hours, the situation spun out of control. The HOA enforcers, convinced we were breaking some unwritten rule, decided to take matters into their own hands. They didn't realize what they were messing with. They didn't know this wasn't just a farm. It was a full-scale, professionally licensed K9 training facility with highly trained working dogs on site. By the time the first smoke rose into the air, it was already too late. The fire tore through everything we had built, leaving behind nothing but ash and heartbreak. But the real story isn't just about what was lost. It's about what happened after, when the truth finally came out, and it hit harder than anyone could have imagined. The truth was, we weren't just some random homeowners ignoring HOA rules. Our farm had been legally registered for years as a working K9 training center, specializing in service dogs, search and rescue dogs, and even police K9 units. We had licenses, inspections, insurance, everything done by the book. But it didn't seem to matter to the HOA board. They saw animals, equipment, and traffic, and decided we were a nuisance that needed to be dealt with fast. No one from the HOA ever asked us about it. No formal notices, no hearings, just quiet anger building behind closed doors. A few neighbors had always given us weird looks, especially when the dogs were out practicing drills or when our trainees from the local police department came by. Maybe they didn't understand, or maybe they just didn't care. Either way, it was clear now that the HOA had been plotting something. It was hard to believe they'd take it this far, recklessly starting a fire without even checking what they were destroying. And the worst part, some of the dogs were still inside when it happened. We had protocols for emergencies, but we never imagined we'd be battling flames started by our own community. As smoke thickened and sirens echoed in the distance, one question haunted us. Was this really an accident, or something much darker? The fire department got there fast, but not fast enough to save most of what we had. While we watched helplessly, the flames swallowed our training fields, kennels, and years of work. Our dogs, our partners, were our first priority. Some of our most experienced K9s managed to break free and lead younger trainees to safety. But the smoke was thick, and a few had to be pulled out by the firefighters. It was chaos. As we stood there, covered in ash, trying to account for every dog, HOA board members circled nearby, whispering among themselves. Not one of them stepped forward to help. They avoided our eyes, like they already knew they had crossed a line they couldn't erase. Later, when investigators showed up, we heard something that made our stomachs drop. The HOA had filed a complaint just days before the fire, claiming we were operating an illegal facility and creating hazards in the neighborhood. It felt like they were building a case to cover themselves before anything even happened. Neighbors started picking sides. Some had no idea what was really going on. They believed the lies being spread that we were running a dangerous operation. Others, the ones who had trained with us, who trusted their own dogs to our care, started pushing back. Whispers of lawsuits, cover-ups, and hidden motives started floating through the community. And just when we thought it couldn't get any worse, a piece of evidence surfaced that made everything even more twisted. A few days after the fire, when we were still sifting through the rubble trying to salvage anything, a neighbor quietly slipped us a flash drive. They said they didn't want to be involved, but couldn't stay silent either. On it was security camera footage, grainy, but clear enough. It showed a group of HOA members near our back fence the night before the fire. They were carrying cans of something, maybe gasoline, and arguing in hushed voices. Our hearts sank. This wasn't just negligence. This looked planned. At the same time, the investigation into the fire's cause wasn't moving like we hoped. There were rumors that a few people on the HOA board had friends in the local council. Suddenly, paperwork went missing. Reports got delayed. The official narrative being whispered around town was that the fire had been an unfortunate accident, an electrical issue, they said, even though everyone knew there was no active wiring in the part of the farm where the fire started. Meanwhile, the dogs we managed to save were shaken. Training sessions were quieter. Some wouldn't even go near the scorched areas. These dogs, trained for search and rescue, could smell what we were all feeling. Something wasn't right. As we prepared to take our evidence public, the HOA pushed back harder. Cease and desist letters, threats of fines, and even a warning that we could be removed from the community if we didn't back down. But we had already lost too much. There was no turning back now. And what we uncovered next made everything explode. Just when we thought we had everything we needed to expose them, another twist hit us straight in the gut. One of our former trainees, a K-9 officer who had been with us for years, showed up with shocking news. Turns out, the HOA had secretly filed a petition months earlier to rezone our property without telling us. If the rezoning went through, our farm and K-9 training facility would no longer be legally protected. They weren't just trying to force us out with complaints or pressure. They were setting the stage to wipe us off the map permanently. The worst part, several key community members, ones we thought were friends, had signed off on it. Some were promised quieter streets, higher property values, and a better neighborhood environment if we were gone. They had been planning this takeover quietly, laying groundwork under fake concerns about safety and noise. The fire was just their way of speeding up the process when we didn't budge. We realized the stakes were way bigger than saving our farm. If we lost this fight, every working dog, every police department we supported, every family that depended on our trained service dogs would be left with nothing. Our home, our mission, our entire purpose, erased. The walls were closing in, and with legal battles, public opinion, and the safety of our dogs hanging by a thread, the final showdown was coming faster than we could prepare for. We knew we couldn't beat them quietly anymore, so we went public. We gathered every piece of evidence, the security footage, the rezoning papers, the timeline of complaints, and took it straight to the local news. Within hours, a story exploded. Headlines like HOA accused of arson against K-9 training facility and service dogs caught in crossfire of HOA war spread like wildfire. Public opinion turned hard against the HOA board. People who once ignored us now showed up with donations, supplies, and even offers to help rebuild. But just when it seemed like justice was on our side, the final twist hit. One of the main HOA board members was exposed, not just for their role in our case, but for a whole series of shady deals around town. Illegal property sales, forged signatures, even bribes. Our battle had cracked open something much bigger than our farm alone. Law enforcement swooped in, and it wasn't long before several arrests were made. In the end, not only did we clear our name, but we were offered official support to rebuild the K-9 training facility, bigger and better than before. Our dogs, who had been through so much, would have a new home, and we made a promise to them, and to ourselves. No matter how many people tried to tear us down, this farm, this mission, would always stand back up stronger. Rebuilding the farm wasn't easy, but the support we got from the community made it possible. Volunteers showed up with hammers, paintbrushes, and a lot of heart. Families who once doubted us now brought their kids to meet the dogs they had heard so many rumors about. Slowly, the fields were cleaned, the kennels were rebuilt, and the training grounds came back to life. The K-9s who survived the fire were honored at a special ceremony, and our new facility was officially recognized as a critical service to the county. The biggest lesson we took from all of it was simple: when you fight for something real, something good, there's no group, no HOA, no hidden plans strong enough to erase it. Our farm wasn't just land or buildings. It was a place where trust was built, where dogs learned to save lives, and where second chances were given every single day. Today, every time we watch a dog graduate from our K9 training facility, we remember what it cost to protect this place. It's more than a job, it's a promise. A promise that no matter how tough it gets, we'll always stand up for what's right. And this time, the whole town will be standing with us.